Marku. Hello. Good day to you. It's early in the morning. Still, it's 9 a.m. actually, but still feels very early. The time shift makes it different. I am very glad that you allowed and agreed to be here with me and talk to me. And I have some questions for you that will shed some light on drinking vodka, and producing vodka as well. So, first thing I wanted to ask you regards the sugar sources in vodka. I mean, you know, there is this whole debate in the European Union right now regarding different sugar sources. I think that we can easily skip anything that's not grain or potato.
Right.
But there are grains and potatoes that are used to make vodka, and they produce different effects, right? If you use barley, or if you use wheat, or if you use potatoes, after all. So, could you say something about the differences of different sugar sources and how they affect the actual taste of vodka and overall character of the product?
Well, I think that's that. If you start about let's say the easiest end, so in most of the cases, the sugar, if there is sugar in the vodka, it's added. Mm-hmm. So it's added after the distillation.
Mm-hmm. Is there any limit for the sugar?
There is no. It's quite funny that European Union, they have the definition of vodka fits in one A4 paper. It's not too much, and basically the whole document is actually you can find that from the internet, but the whole paper is that vodka shouldn't have anything. Vodka should be just a spirit and water, and they are repeating that you shouldn't add anything, you shouldn't add anything, and you really should add anything. And then the last two lines
you can
ruin it. You can add something
okay.
to how they put it. You can add something to boost the vodka-like character. What the hell is that? Usually it is taken as a sugar, but also it can be, for example, distillate taking away at the midway of the process. Like, for example, how we believe that Absolute does the flavor, or not the flavor, but the character. As you know, it's not the question that Absolute can't make more light. They make some extra hours to get the character in there. And we believe that they do that so that, let's say, they have pretty much the same kind of process as we do, maybe 7 colons or something like that. Somewhere on the midway, they take some small part of the distillate away, and then they continue with the distillation. And then when the distillation is done, it's actually pretty close to Finlandia distillate, and then they flavor it with that same distillate which they have taken on the way.
So that it has a bit more grainy.
Exactly. So that's where comes that grainy, malty, wheaty characters.
Because actually, those two brands are very easy to distinguish, right?
They are, because they are like a black and white. They are like
totally on the other side.
Totally on the other side, and that's why we always are on the same table, because those are the benchmarks. Finlandia in the light side and Absolute in the robust side.
All right. So how do the different sugar sources affect the taste? I mean, you make vodka from potatoes. How does it taste? You make vodka from barley. How does it taste? From wheat?
At the modern day, today, actually, if we take our distillation knowledge, I would say that it really doesn't matter that much what you put in there, because the distillation know-how is in such a high level. But then it is agreed among the vodka business that potato is the most unique, meaning that potato gives you usually very creamy, quite pleasant, a little bit oily texture vodka. And of course, I would say that it's mostly because of the starch, the base of the sugar, what is in the potato. But of course, also the other elements which are in the potato. But then, if you put potato, maybe sugar cane in the same block, but then basically grains, it doesn't really matter. With the modern technology. But okay, the more, if we would have pot distillation, if that would happen, then it would affect, because then much more the real character of the raw material pass through the whole process. But when we talk about colon distillation, when we can have starting from 3 colons, somebody have 4, 5, 6, and we have even 7 colons. So there actually the sugar, what kind of sugar is in there, that doesn't affect that much anymore.
So which stage of the production process of vodka affects the flavor the most? Because in other spirits it would be probably fermentation and then aging, which does not occur in vodka. So is it fermentation still, or?
I would say fermentation, because actually everything is composed during the fermentation. And as a distillation, actually as a process, it's just a separation process. So what kind of yeast? Pretty much the same laws or same kind of effects as even with the beer or with the cider's effect. But of course, because the end product is so light, so everything is everything what you can find are the fractions of the same characters which you can find for example from whiskey. So, but the process is we do that so much. Let's say a higher level, meaning that whiskey business ends somewhere around 65, 70 ABV. We continue to 96, even 97. So that's, I would say that nowadays, with the modern, I'm repeating I'm going circle, sorry for that, but it's because what I know most is our process. So there is actually, we use barley, because barley makes it a little bit easier, meaning that the oils, the fusel oil, not the fusel, but the oil level of the grain in that 6-row barley is the lowest one. So it's kind of lazy man's grain, so it's easier to take that away. So as I always put it, that we use barley because we don't like the taste of barley.
Okay, that's being lazy. Okay, that makes sense actually. So I remember the other day when we spoke in Poland, you told me that what vodka makers call trash, whiskey makers call character.
Exactly.
So I wanted to ask you, what makes quality in vodka? Is it the purity, or is it the individual character? Or what is it that makes a vodka a good vodka? Because I believe that it is a very important question, because I think that a lot of consumers that are, aware of the brand, but blind to the flavor and to the taste. So they would choose because of the label on the bottle, but they would not choose because of the experience that the spirit delivers. Yeah. And I'm very interested about it. So,
that's something what has happened during the last 10, 12 years is. For example, Finlandia has always had the purity level what it has, but and I have been doing this tasting now something like 15 years, and when I started, I at the very beginning I started to talk about the purity, but then the feedback, the audience was, well, who cares? No, if it's a premium vodka, first of all they are all the same and they are pure enough. But what has happened during the last 10 years, if you look at the trends of all the beverages, let's have coffees, juices, sodas, alcohol, everything. Still, the biggest brand is, or the biggest category is water. Consumers are drinking more and more bottled water. If you look at the back label of the bottled water, there's a list of ingredients.
Okay. Minerals, I suppose.
Which are minerals, but it's. If I would ask 10 years ago from somebody, said, could you please read me the small print, what are the ingredients? The answer
water.
Would be, hey, wake up, it's water.
Yes.
But now they even put how much there's carbs or calories and so on. So what I say that nowadays the purity definitely makes, it's almost equal to the quality. But at the same time, of course, there are beautiful brands like Ciroc or Absolute, which have very, let's say, robust characters, and for sure they are very high quality products. So I would say that the only thing what really is bad quality is the safety issue. That you have to take, because not all of the alcohol family members are good stuff. For example, methanol, the worst case. So there are certain alcohols which you shouldn't have in your end product. But at the same time, because the needs and of the consumers are getting wider and wider, and they are also starting to understand that there are vodkas and there are different vodkas. So of course it's nice that they have the possibility to choose if they like me, for example. Every now and then I really like to have a robust vodka, you know, just on the rocks, and then it's maybe kind of how you say it, kind of it reflects back being all the time with Finlandia and drinking water vodka all the time.
I believe, to be honest with you, I believe that if you're an industry official in any way, and especially dealing with flavors and taste, it is just so important to be aware of all the products. Because if you drink only your products, I mean, you don't have the full perspective, right?
Of course,
and this,
definitely.
And this is so important to be tasting, because if you don't taste, you don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Yes.
I have not even a decent collection of vodkas, but I have some vodkas in my office, and if there comes, let's say, some people out of the trade, for example, like a transportation company, every now and then they come and visit the office, and they're like, what the hell, you have more other bottles than Finlandia bottles.
Yeah.
That's the first reaction. But then, you know, well, we work with them. Okay, yes, of course you have to have
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I have another question for you regarding quality, because I have to say that this makes me think about vodka every once in a while, because you get a lot of premium brands, like the ones you mentioned, Benchmark, so Absolute and Finlandia and some other brands that are also premium. But I find it a little bit confusing to understand what makes ultra premium segments, if you know what I mean. Because there are some vodkas you can pay a lot of money for a bottle of vodka, starting from 30-40 euros going up, whatever amount you want, you can pay. But I find it a little bit difficult to understand what is the difference. Is it only the bottle? Because you say we have the purest vodka in the world. So how can you make it better? What's the story there?
That's excellent question, and that's the major problem there. The trouble starts on that there are no authorities in the vodka industry. So that's why we have the whole business is very like a ball of smoke. What is premium? That's the first question, because in tequila it's easy. You have Blanco, you have Reposado, and so on, and that's written down, and that's given thing. But in vodkas there's no. So premium is. The premium as a concept is usually, I think that they define it that a premium means in any category, clothing, food or beverage, anything, it's premium if consumers are willing to pay the premium. That kind of makes sense.
Yes.
But then, what is that super premium? The whole category has started, that's my opinion, it started at how much you have balls. So how much you have balls to put the price tag there. Not saying that they are not good product, but I would say that there's in most of the cases there's no rational reason for that double price.
So it's prestige.
It's prestige. Of course, there are many times the package is more expensive, and there might be some extra job. So we have that trouble with Finlandia because. We have been thinking about the super premium vodka something like 6 or 5 years, and the discussion within the company has come back and forth. Okay, we have the purest vodka on the market, so how we can improve that? How we can make it even purer? And we had a very tempting idea. Let's make a fancy bottle, and let's double the price, and let's put Finlandia in it. But
that wouldn't be so fair with the consumers, right?
But then Finlandia has always been the brand of substance. We don't have too much trendy image or bling bling, but we always have had the substance in the bottle. So we decided that if we do that, we have to do something different. And in Finlandia Platinum case, the difference is that we start to play with the wood, and we finally ended with the birch chips. So in our case, we have this basically same spirit, same water, but then we have different recipe and different method. So we do a lot of handwork and so on. So actually, at least in our case, there is, of course, there's much more work, and of course, then the super premium image allows us a little bit more.
Because my problem with the super premium, or I think in Poland we call it even ultra premium.
It is those
different
terms are and basically it means the same.
Yes.
In my
my problem about it is that okay, I pay 40 euros for a bottle, and when I go to brown spirits, it makes sense because okay, I had some distillation. And then it was, kept in an oak barrel for 12 years. So somebody paid for storing, somebody took care of it, somebody paid the taxes and everything. So, okay, I say, I understand this is 3 times more expensive, but I pay for the aging. Yeah. In vodka, it's a bit confusing, but because I want to find a point where I still pay for better quality when I drink, but I no longer pay for all the, as Pekka calls it, mambo jumbo that goes around the pot. So the quality here, you would say that it stems from the production process that's altered in a way that delivers some extra experience. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
At least I would say that is, for my mind and for Finlandia philosophy, that's the only way to justify the price tag. Okay, if you put the baccarat crystal and you put some silver elements there, of course. That's
yes,
also,
of course, but
that's not an issue with vodka.
Yeah, that is not about alcohol. Yeah, okay, you get vodkas with diamonds inside the bottle, but I mean, if you like diamonds inside the bottle, then go ahead and buy it. But I'm absolutely not interested. Yeah. Because if I want diamonds, I buy diamonds. And that's how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the next subject I wanted to touch upon, there is quality in the bottle, but in case of vodka, it is still not so obvious that the consumers will be able to find this quality and above all appreciate it. Yeah. So, well, it would be a mystification if I now came up with some, great surprise that, and about vodka, because I've been to your tastings before, which I found extremely interesting, given that I hold tastings in whiskey. So seeing a professional in vodka doing this is extremely interesting for me. And I wanted to ask you to elaborate a bit about the techniques of drinking whiskey, actually. And yesterday, this is something that I even wrote it down. You said something really important, that you drink in one way to appreciate whiskey, and you drink vodka, and you drink another way to understand vodka. Yeah. So it's the difference between drinking vodka and science about vodka. But still, if you could elaborate a bit about how vodka should be appreciated to understand it. So what do you do to understand? Okay, this is a good vodka. How do you do it?
That's a long question. So
how do you taste vodka? That's it. With the tilt glasses. I mean.
Okay, yeah. So. Yeah, as I mentioned in our presentation, the tasting is that how we do that in the tasting. That's not the way to enjoy vodka. That's the way to study it. And actually, I have stolen that method from our quality control laboratory. So whenever they study our distillate, our vodkas, whatever, there are the professional people who dilute that down to 20 ABV. No matter if the distillate is 90 or 96, they dilute that down to 20. And then they evaluate that. Of course, they had a funny equipment and everything, but the main point is the nose. And they have found out that 20 is good. There's enough water to boost the aromas up and support them, and enough water to cut the numbing effect. Because basically our nosing technique is the very same as with the wine. So we really inhale. We take, as they say, deep nose. With cognac, you talk about the light nose. So you don't really inhale that
so much. Yes.
Yeah, so much because and that's the reason is that if you do that,
the nose becomes blind. Yes. Okay.
It's a dumping effect. Yeah.
So that is what I was afraid about, because you said, okay, and inhale very deeply. And I said, okay, I'll inhale the first one very deeply, and then I'm blind to the next ones.
Yeah, and I used that a little bit like a show element that, okay, do that. I thought, well, should I really do this? And what is he saying? So I really use that, I exaggerate a little bit, do drama on that. And then afterwards, I tell, actually, I have diluted those. So that's I think that it makes some nice drama to the presentation also. But it's also so that when you do that, when you repeat it as cut down to 20 ABV, then slowly you start to find some of the same elements when they are when they are in bottle strength. And then the question that I have, especially from consumers, that okay, now I can find those when it's diluted, but then what's the point? I put there orange juice or tomato juice and so on. But then the thing is that, as we say in Finland, that the knowledge hurts.
That is true. I know this exactly.
Yeah. So in our case, it means that when you know that they are different, and when you then you are able to pick your favorite, and we want to have our favorite even if we don't taste it, because that's the human being. Because my dream is that the consumers start more and more to pick up the favorite by the substance, not just about the brand and everything which is around that, because then that is something that lasts longer. It's like if you talk in UK and Germany, if you talk about picking up the football team, when you have done it, you stick with that. You can change your wife, but you never change your team. no matter if they are losing all the games and so. I mean that kind of commitment is possible to do when they really know that okay, there are differences and where they come from, and then they can choose. Okay, if they said okay, actually I prefer robust, big tasties, so then they choose that brand and they stick with that one, and that's totally okay, because we have that as Michael Jackson used to say, not the singer, but the other one.
Yes, let's just explain this. That Michael Jackson was probably the most famous whiskey and beer reviewer in the history.
And he always he said that if you go to the bar and if you ask, could I have a scotch on the rocks, please? It would be the same if you go to the bookstore and say, could I have one book, please?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So it's we don't have that much those our differences in vodka industry are not that prominent, but they are there. And when you find those, then you can choose that. Okay, I like to have that, and I like that.
I think this is very important what you said, that knowledge hurts, because I in the brown spirit sector I can experience it even more, and sometimes with my friends who also appreciate whiskey, we laugh that I go to my bar and I say, okay, I should have drank you all when I still liked you, because I drank something much better that I was able to appreciate, and I look, with a little bit distance to some other products. But I believe that this is the situation that we all should be looking for. What you said, that consumers are aware of what they are doing and they choose wisely what they want, and this is a great situation. And this, takes away all the manipulation, marketing. Sorry, but it is.
But
it is indeed.
The marketing is one part, and it's also very important, because the brand what you choose, if it's is it clothing or is it shoes or is it whatever, it's a statement from consumers. So you also, and there comes also those things that what we can harvest today, the purity, because consumers, all that what's in there, is there any artificial and things like that. It's also a statement. And also if they choose, I don't want to sound now too much green, but if you choose that you buy only T-shirts which are made with, let's say, the sustainable cotton or something like that, then you maybe choose like a vodka brand which production process, for example, is as sustainable as possible. So those choices also they affect there. And if you have that really within the product also, not just printing heavy paper and making that brown, that it looks like it's not blanched, that kind of how they say that painting the grass, you know the thing, or greenwashing. Consumers can see through that easily. But if you have all those elements, so then soul by soul you find those consumers who appreciate the same values as your brand is presenting.
Yes, and I think that this also, it would be great if all brands focused on this, because if you build a base of wise consumers, they're most loyal, right? Because they chose you willingly, and they know exactly what they are doing. Yes, I experienced similar things. Okay, so a question for you, because I was very surprised to know that Finlandia is so big in Poland when I showed the numbers. And this is an unusual situation, I have to say, because and you also emphasize this, that okay, we the Poles, we should know a lot about vodka because we take pride in inventing it at all. And now we have a Finnish vodka in Poland that is very, very popular. And I wanted to know what markets are the most important worldwide, not only Poland. What markets are most important for Finlandia brand?
I always call myself Mr. Nice Guy, which means that I'm not too good with the numbers. But okay,
no specific numbers, just generally.
Yeah, but in general, Poland is our biggest market by far. So you guys, you are really doing about 1/3 of our volume, pretty close to 1 million cases. It's something 900,000 cases. Our total volume is at the moment 3.4 million cases. So you really do good. And we are so proud about that because that's like selling fridges to Eskimos.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. But then, okay, after that comes Russia. We are also there, number one imported. Then comes Ukrainian. And then comes US. So I would say that the whole vodka belt is a very important market for us because that's where the biggest volume is. And then of course the US is also a very important market because that is the key market for premium vodkas. The volume there, the total volume of vodkas, it's not that big. Actually, it's bigger in our backyard, looking from Finland. But the premium category is very important there. And what we did try, and what we still try to do, like every vodka, I would say every premium vodka brand wants to have a success in US and then use that globally. Of course, we would also like to do, and we try to do that. And actually, it has happened almost like not accidentally, but without recognition that you in Poland, you have taken such a huge part of our consumption. So it's
yes, that is true also. Okay, so one more question I wanted to ask about the Finlandia brand, because you, in Poland especially, you're very famous as a vodka brand, but you're also very famous for different flavored vodkas. I think that maybe you're even more famous about flavors than about vodka, because I meet so many people in different age. I mean, my mother and my friends, they would say, okay, cranberry this, blackcurrant this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about flavored vodkas? Because, for me, I'm not so much interested because the flavors are brought to the vodka from some other source, and I like to look for things that originate from the process, but that's only me, of course. I'm not an average consumer. So what do you think about flavored vodkas and how important they are for you?
They are in the whole premium vodka category. It's the development of the category is leading by the flavors, meaning that the flavors are like the point of the arrow that it's opening the road. Let's say 10-15 years it was all about fighting the facing of the self. If you have your three classics there and you want to have the fourth one, it's very hard one. But if you can offer the new flavor, somebody has to do that very successfully, like Pinnacle or Three Olives in US. But from our standpoint, it's also the flavors are there to recruit the consumers from other categories. And there the best example would be our Finlandia grapefruit, meaning gin drinkers in general, they don't touch vodka. If you have chosen that you drink gin, that makes sense. That makes sense. But if you are able to offer to the gin and tonic drinker Finlandia grapefruit and tonic, of course, they doesn't taste the same, but they have same elements there. The same, it rings the same bells.
Yes, it goes to similar areas.
Yes, and then the gin drinker might think that actually there is something good about vodkas also, and then they might try the mother brand. But for us, it's the point is the flavors are there to support the mother brand. We have it's something like, if you take the total volume of Finlandia, something like 13-15% is the flavors. And we think that that's quite healthy numbers. So, but they are there to support, recruit the new consumers, and also the new consumption occasions. Like home cocktail parties are getting more and more popular. So if you have one Finlandia flavor and you have one mixer and one choice, you are a bartender at home.
That is true.
Yeah, so
That
that's,
is true.
that's
So
also that.
it's a shortcut for consumers
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So unfortunately, it's a very interesting conversation, but I see that our time is running out. So
But we can continue later.
later on,
Yeah.
okay, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
But just one last question that is important and also very difficult, but not too scary. What do you believe is the future of the vodka industry in the perspective of 10 and 20 years, more or less? What are we going to see on the markets?
We are going to see more premium executions for sure. That will continue. We are going to see a little bit less mainstream, and
Like artisan distilleries?
those definitely will
Boutique
be
alcohols,
boutique
yeah.
alcohols. They will be there, and unfortunately, especially in the vodka segment, on the way we will see too many take the money and run execution, meaning that you just make because it's actually quite easy. You have a co-packer or things like that. You make your brand, and you throw that on the shelf, and that's about it. So
Especially in vodka.
in vodka.
Is.
So those we will see that those comes and goes. That it's a little bit annoying, but because it's so easy with vodka. That's what we. But I'm sure that the premiumization that will continue. Ultra premium or super premium, they are for us. They are like flavors. They are tactical weapons. They are also supporting the mother brand. So that's how I see that the future.
Okay. Do you think that brown spirits are any threat for vodka?
They not really, because even so that we can even have the benefits of those because they are opening the road in Asia, for example. So in Japan, India, China. So especially
So it's
cognac
like the front kick that opens the door.
Exactly.
Yeah. So not really a threat.
Not really.
Because
I
I
don't
would
see
see
that
a huge increase in the consumption of
Yeah.
whiskey, for example. So
but
does it affect vodka? I was wondering.
it might affect, let's say, in the vodka belt. It might affect, yes, because in Poland and in Russia we can see that the consumers turn more to brown spirit. But at the same time, it opens a huge potential in the Asian market.
Okay, I've never thought about it this way, but it's very interesting. Okay, Marku, thank you very much for this interesting conversation. We are at the Finlandia Vodka Cup right now, so I'll be watching with the bated breath what's going to happen in the evening, because this is really interesting. And I think that this conversation will shed a lot of light to Polish and international consumers of vodka on how vodka should be consumed and what it is, because understanding it is the foundation, I believe. So thanks a lot, and see you in the future.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Sure.